Hi guys, James with the 1HourSmartHome.com, and today we are going to compare the Lutron Caseta Light Switches to the Leviton Smart Light Switches. So both of these are smart light switches, and what that means is you're going to be able to control your lighting from your phone or using your voice using Alexa or Google Home. So that's a great way to be able to add smart home automation to your house and be able to control what you want, when you want it, however you want it, using either your voice or your smartphone for control. I've got smart lighting throughout my house, and it is probably one of the best upgrades you can make to your house. Let's say you end up leaving the light on downstairs and you've got a bedroom upstairs. You don't have to worry about getting out of bed to turn it off anymore. You can just tell Alexa to do it or Google Home to do it. No problem, the light switch will go off. Boom, you've done it with your voice. All you have to say is Alexa, turn off my light switch, and it does it. Or you can do it on your phone. So it's a great way to add functionality as well as save energy, because you're going to be more conscious of being able to go from room to room and turn off lights, because it's super easy to do. When I walk in a room, I tell Alexa to do it. I walk out of a room, I turn it off, and I can be sitting on the couch and turn off the lights if I don't need them or I'm watching a movie. It's overall a great feature. And probably my favorite thing to do with smart lighting is at the end of a long day, being laying in bed and not having to get out of bed to turn off the lights it's truly amazing. You're just tired, you don't have to get up. Maybe you fell asleep in your bed for a little bit and you're like, you left the lights on. You can just say Alexa, turn off the lights, and you can go to bed. It's awesome. You don't realize how much you use it till you go to a hotel and it's been like a long trip and you have to get out of bed, turn the lights off, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have to do this. So now that said, either one of these is a great choice, but I'm going to compare the differences between the two of them for you, because there really is a difference between the two and how you're going to use them or how you're going to use them in their home. You need to kind of know what's going on with each of these. So the Lutron Caseta system, it's a great system. A lot of people have this installed. What's nice about it is it doesn't require a neutral wire. So if you've got an older home built before 1985, you may not have a neutral wire, or just even some newer homes, because of whatever the code is, they don't have a neutral wire. If that's the case, you don't have to worry about having a neutral wire for your smart light switch, because the Lutron Caseta only requires two wires right here and then a ground wire. It does not need a neutral wire for installation. If you have no idea what a neutral wire is or what I'm talking about, don't worry, we've got other videos for that. They can tell you if you've got a neutral wire, how to determine on that. Just go ahead, look at the links below. We'll teach you what's going on with the neutral wire. But for a lot of older homes, that makes this a great option for installation, because the Leviton light switches do require a neutral wire, which is not a big deal. It's super easy to wire in the light switch with the neutral wire if you have one in your wiring. And if you've got a newer home, you most likely have that, so no big deal there. But for older homes, that does make a significant difference. These will work with light switches that have a neutral wire in them as well. So it can work with a neutral, without a neutral. It's pretty much universal. If you have a light switch in your home, you will be able to replace it with this smart light switch, no problem. That's in general what's going on with this one. With this one, as long as it's got a neutral wire, you can replace it with this. If it doesn't have a neutral wire, then you gotta go with the Lutron Caseta. Now there is a drawback to that. The Lutron Caseta, does require you to have a hub, and that hub just installs to your Wi-Fi network, plugs in wherever your router's at, not a big deal. And then that hub will broadcast 60 feet is what they advertise the range is. I found it much closer, like 100, 120 feet. It really depends on the construction of your home. You can also extend the range with range extenders, which are actually smart light plugs or smart plugs that go on your wall, but they also function as a range extender for the Lutron Caseta network. If you've got a bigger house than that and you need more than range extenders, you can get another hub and put it in another location to be able to control your smart lights with this. So that's just one downside, is there is a little bit of a range limitation. I've found it to be much more than the 60 feet advertised. I found it to be more like the 120, 100 feet range when you're in a standard wood house. If you got like concrete walls or steel walls or all kinds of crazy stuff, you're probably gonna have lower range, just to be transparent with that. This also does have a 75 device limit. So you can only have 75 devices on one hub. That's just something to be aware of there. Whereas the Leviton switches, they don't really have a device limit because there is no hub. These connect directly to your Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about a hub. So there is theoretically no range limitation as long as you're in range of your Wi-Fi network. So In terms of Wi-Fi network, if you've got a mesh network like Eero or Google Home, which I highly recommend if you are installing smart devices, because you really need something that's going to broadcast a lot of good Wi-Fi coverage and not get a whole bunch of interference, which Eero and Google Home both do those and do it well. You could have these theoretically like all over your house, no device limit. So you could, if you have a really big house, maybe the way to go is with a Wi-Fi switch. It doesn't require a hub, because you could just continue to expand that Wi-Fi network with additional nodes and additional repeaters, which is what a lot of people end up doing. I personally have more Wi-Fi switches like this in my house than I have the Lutron Caseta houses, mainly because this was just more popular at the time that I did the light switch installation and was testing everything out. Now I've got some of these installed so I can test them out and review these for you guys. The difference between the two is not enough that I'm going to switch from one to the other. I do like the fact that these just work on my Wi-Fi network and I don't have to have a hub. However, they both are great switches. The Lutron Caseta system over here, like I said, doesn't require neutral. You've got 4 buttons. You've got a on button up here, an off button down here, and then you've got dimming functionality right in the center here, as well as right here on this light on the side, there's a little light bar that tells you what dimming it is from 0 to 100%. It'll kind of give you an indication of where it's dimmed. And then the 2 wires on the back, you've got here, they'll wire into pretty much any switch, and then just a standard ground wire there. So that's how that works. The Leviton light switch also works on your phone, works with Alexa, Google Home. Both of these will work with that. They both work on your phone. The apps are pretty much the same thing. Yeah, they're made by different manufacturers and all that, but they serve the same purpose. There's not one feature on one app that's better than the other. They turn on and off your lights, allow you to set schedules, allow you to set custom scenes and all that kind of stuff. And they allow you to connect them to Alexa and Google Home to do even more customization. So in terms of the apps, there's not like a huge difference there. They're pretty comparable. Now this one, this is the Leviton Smart Dimmer. So, you know, on, off on this bigger paddle switch, and then dimming is on this side paddle over here. So you can go up and down with the dimming. And then there is an indicator light. You can't see it here because it's not connected, but if it was connected, when you click this, it'll light up and show you what dimming level it's at. So we'll give you a little back shot of this. You've got on the back side of this, you have a hot wire, a neutral wire, a load wire, and your ground wire. And then this last one here is for 3-way switch applications. So both of these will work with 3-way switches or in 3-way switch applications. How they work is a little bit different. So this will use just standard 3-way switch wiring. And then you just got to look at the instructions, because how the traveler connects in a 3-way switch wiring configuration, it's not a true traveler. It's connected just like a normal traveler, but it's only to send a signal between the 2 switches, like a momentary pulse to tell one that it's on or off or what the status is. So there's not actually like current always flowing through the traveler wire. So just make sure you follow the instructions when you install this. It's not hard or anything. It's just something you should know when you install that, because it's a little bit different than a standard 3-way switch installation, even though it uses the exact same wiring. Now for the 3-way switch configuration on the Lutron, this is neat because how it does this is it achieves it with a remote. So if you can see in here, there's a couple different pieces. Let's look right here, this middle device, that's what's called a Lutron Caseta remote. And that remote actually connects directly to the switch. You can program it so it's connected to the switch regardless if you've got Wi-Fi on or anything. And it will work as a 3-way switch. It's a wireless remote that works as a light switch. And it's designed so that it'll fit in a standard light switch housing. So you can put this literally on the wall, get a cover plate, put it on the wall. It looks just like a built-in light switch. You can add 3-way functionality to a switch anywhere without wiring, because it does it through radio remote control. That remote, the battery will last up to 10 years. And I've found that to actually be very accurate in terms of how long this battery lasts. That gets used a ton in commercial construction. A lot of people have these Lutron Caseta lighting systems in more complex commercial construction setups, or a similar system that is made by Lutron for that. So it's kind of a neat way to do the 3-way lighting system. You could do a 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, all with that setup there with the remote. You just add in another remote. You can put a cover plate on it. It looks just like a built-in wall switch. If you've already got wiring for a 3-way switch, no problem. You just wire the wires together, follow the instructions, and put that on a cover plate. There's a little plastic adapter that allows it to fit in a junction box real nice and look like a built-in switch. So really nice way to Use these if you're going to use three-way switch applications. This will also work in three-way, four-way, five-way applications. You just got to follow the instructions when you do that. In terms of which do I like better, I like them both. It really comes down to your application. If you have a neutral wire in your switch box, I kind of lean towards this because you don't have any range limitation, connects directly to your Wi-Fi network, and these are clean. These are just nice, clean switches. You would never know this is a smart home light switch, which I kind of like, that it's like incognito there. I've got more of these in my house than I have of these. It's a little bit lower cost as well because you don't have to make the investment in the hub, and these switches tend to be just a little bit pricier. So if you're doing a whole house, it can add up over time. If you don't have a neutral wire, then I would, no questions, I would stop researching on the internet, like how to add a neutral wire to my light switches and all that kind of stuff, because I get that question all the time. How do I add a neutral wire to my light switch? Call an electrician. It's going to be expensive most likely, and it's going to be a pain. Yes, you can do it. We're even going to make a video on that, but it's just not worth it because you can just get these switches and they're going to work awesome and they're going to be great. And you can skip all that aggravation and hassle and all that stuff. To add a neutral wire, a lot of times you actually have to open up your walls and all kinds of stuff to make that happen. So why would you do that when you could just get these Lutron Caseta switches, which work really well? So for all my friends that have no neutral, I've always recommended these. We've used these with a lot of people. We have helped a lot of people out with these. These things are great. I highly recommend them as well. It really just comes down to what your house has, what design you like. Some people like this design better. Some people like this design better. That's really what it comes down to. They're both going to do the same thing. They're both incredibly reliable. They both work pretty much the same with all light bulbs that I've installed them with. And they both work with Alexa and Google Home and HomeKit. So they work with all the most popular voice services, and they'll do a great job and last you a long time. So I'm not going to say one's better than the other. It really depends on your application for what you're going to use in your house and how you're going to use them and what your existing wiring is. So with that being said, thank you for being here. We're going to put some links to other resources down below. Both of them, installation-wise, are easy to install. It takes like probably 5 to 25 minutes, depending on how much experience you've got with electrical, and you can do it, or you can hire an electrician, whatever. It's not a super complicated process as long as you are just being careful, following the steps, going through what you need to do to be safe when you install it. Changing out a light switch, people do it all the time. So just another thought there. But thank you for watching. Please click on any links below. Like this video, subscribe. It supports our channel. Any of the links that you click on help support this channel as well. I hope you enjoy your smart lighting, whichever one you choose. These are both great options. They're both going to work well. They'll both connect to your Wi-Fi. They'll both do what you want them to do when you tell Alexa to do whatever you want. I've never had a problem with either of these not responding or not being controllable or anything like that. Oh, another thing that people get, and like I'm just going on and on this video, and I should just wrap it up and tell you, but this is another question I get all the time. What happens if my Wi-Fi network goes out? Both of these light switches will work with like normal light switches, even if your Wi-Fi network is going to go out. So you turn it on or off with your finger press or just like an old style light switch, it will still work even if your Wi-Fi network is out. You just won't be able to control it from your phone or from the app or from Alexa or Google Home. But it'll still work like a normal light switch. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, my Wi-Fi went out. Now I can't turn off my lights. No, you don't have to worry about that. You'll still be able to go up and press the switch. It'll just be the old style of doing it. So with that being said, please like, subscribe this video. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for being here. And hopefully you enjoyed this content. Check out onehoursmarthome.com, all spelled out. We also have a ton of great tools, tips, resources there for you to use. And click on any links below to support us. Thank you.